Good Friday morning to y'all. I am Rebecca Greenspan, founder and CEO of RG Adoption Consulting. We take you by the hand, take all the overwhelm out, and tell you what to do step by step by step in the adoption process. I've been in some adoption groups, just kind of perusing this week, and I haven't done that in months. And there are so many people who still don't know. I think I've been doing this for 10 years now. And when I started, there were only like 4 or 5 other adoption consultants. And now I think there's like 17. And I think now that everybody knows all the different strategies and who they can work with and who not in adoption. And I take for granted that there's still so many people out there that have no clue. And the things that I was seeing posted were like, I don't know where to start. Do you know a good agency in California? I wish there was somebody that could just tell me what to do because all this information is so overwhelming. Hello, that's what adoption consultants are for. We take out the overwhelm. Yes. I also had somebody who I really, really respect say that, that she didn't like my website or something because we say on it that the only person that we are supporting is you, the hopeful adoptive parent. And the fact of the matter is, of course, we support birth moms and adoptees, but our business, what a consultant does, is support the hopeful adoptive parent through the process. We don't work with adoptive parents, or we don't work with adoptees. We don't work with birth moms. We shouldn't. If anybody is calling themselves a consultant and working with birth moms, it's illegal, FYI. They're either an agency, a facilitator, which is illegal in most places now, or a consultant where they do not work with birth moms. So legit, the person that we support is the hopeful adoptive parent. That's it. In doing so, in education, which is something we place a huge value in, education and community, we teach about open adoption. We teach about trauma and what adoptees may be going through. We teach about who a birth mom is and are making sure they are getting supported in the entities that you are working with. Do they have separate representation? Are they getting options counseling? Who is a birth mom? And how are you supporting her through the process? We teach all of that. So in a roundabout way, of course, we support everybody in the triad, but our business model is supporting the hopeful adoptive parent. And we have also added in our community, supporting the adoptive parent as part of our services. But our main service is supporting the hopeful adoptive parent through their journey. So I just want to clear that up a little bit. We absolutely are proponents for making sure everybody understands who everybody is in the triad, the shift of power, how to support each other, and all the different nuances and layers that are part of adoption. Okay, that's that. This week in adoption, things are feeling a little slow. Does that worry me? I would lie if I said it didn't. It always does. And yet, after 10 years in business, this is just what adoption does. It gets really slow and then it picks up. It gets really slow and then it picks up. And so if I were to be honest, it doesn't worry me too much because I know things will pick up. Hi, Jen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Jen says, in case you're not on Instagram, thank you so much. You guys were a great support for us through our placement. And I hope that you will continue to be part of our community because we do bring in speakers every single month that touch upon what you might be experiencing as a parent. So I'm struggling with whether or not to share this because I don't like to share too much personal stuff about my son, but in generalizing, a lot of children that were adopted, because adoption does start with trauma, struggle with different things, whether it be academically, emotionally, mental health. There is a huge percentage of adoptees who will have ADHD, who will develop ADHD. That is facts. I cannot cite my fact right now, but I have read it and in personal experience. So I always thought ADHD was no big deal. I really did. I thought, everybody has ADHD. I'm sure I have ADHD. ADHD can be a big deal. It also might not be. It also depends on who you are as a person. I am somebody with very high anxiety. That's really difficult. And I'm single, so there's nobody else to bounce things off of. So being able to navigate all the things that our children need sometimes means making really big, really hard, really expensive in some, in sometimes decisions. One of the things we are looking at is switching schools to make sure that my child can grow up feeling confident about who he is, right? He's a really smart kid. And yet sometimes just the choice of where you put your child in school can make all the difference. And right now, I'm not even talking race. I'm not talking socioeconomic, which all plays a part in it too. But just paying attention to the needs of each individual child and what they are getting, how the schools are interacting. So all this to say, that's why I wasn't live yesterday morning, because I was touring a school, which could be a great school. I'm sure Cleveland, Ohio is not the only community in the world that has specialized school for kids who learn differently or who may be experiencing different types of things in their lives. But if that's something that may be beneficial to you, seek that out. Know that that might exist in your community. It's not always just what's right in front of you. And the same with, I can link this back to adoption. And again, I never know what I'm going to talk about. So I'm ranting. I'm on my pedestal right now, preaching. A lot of people think with schools, it's either the public schools or your local private schools. This school that I happen to be looking at, I had no idea existed until I started talking to other parents of kids who experience the same type of thing, telling me about these other schools that exist in the community a little farther away from me. In fact, it would be a big pain in the ass for me. It's a good half-hour drive each way. And yet it was not on my radar at all. Also, another thing is I poo-pooed a lot of things at first thinking, well, there's no way I can't afford this stuff. There are ways. Somebody encouraged me, just try for financial aid. There are also grants, adoption grants. So we recently got an adoption, me, solo, went through the process of getting an adoption grant through something in Ohio called Ohio Kinship Adoption Network, I think is what it's called. They gave grants for therapeutic services for adoptees. So I'm mentioning this stuff because if you are an adoptive parent, and if you're not, there are things that we will be experiencing that other people may or may not be experiencing. And we need to look outside the box. We need to think about what else might be just outside of our reach. What else might exist that we haven't thought about? Okay. And since I'm talking about education, one thing I do want to mention is the earlier the better. If you can get your child on early intervention, whatever that means, I don't even know. All I know is if I had a paper trail from the time my child was younger and I was starting to see some of these issues, instead of just feeling like, oh, this is no big deal, we'll deal with it when it becomes a big deal, because I always learn things the hard way. Hello, welcome to my life. Had I had that paper trail, and I'm telling you, get that paper trail as early as you can start getting services, get it. Whether or not you need the services later, which most likely you will, we all need some sort of services. It's way easier to get later if you have the paper trail now. Do not be afraid to get it. It is all a big, huge pain in the ass. I am sitting on this paperwork for IEPs right now. I do not even want to look at it. I want to go, blah, 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 blah. That's what I want to do. And I have been doing that, and that's getting me nowhere. Marilyn, thank you for sharing your knowledge. You are welcome, my friend. You are welcome. Okay. Things are feeling slow. They will pick up. Support systems. Somebody talked to me this week, a single woman, but it can go for anyone, about putting together their support systems now, especially if you are somebody who maybe doesn't have family around. And especially if you are a single person, especially if you are going to possibly be a transracial family. All of these things that I'm talking about are things that you need to think about educationally, special services, grants, mental health, learning disabilities, support systems. You will need them for whoever you are. Babysitting, by the way, everybody wants to babysit a newborn until I get a little older. But start thinking about who your support is and what you might need them for, right? Some of them are what I talked about, like services. Are there adoption-related services in your area? If you're going through the process and you might need some grants, I just saw a new grant posted in one of the adoption groups. Speaking of Facebook, Facebook is your friend during adoption. I know a lot of people more and more are not on Facebook or getting off Facebook. If you are in your adoption process, even post-adoption, Facebook is great for groups, and it's great for learning and getting yourself inside communities of people like you. So for me, that might be a Facebook group in my community of parents with children with ADHD. It might be parents of children who were exposed to drugs, transracial families, learning disabilities, whatever it is, right? Single moms, all those things. Community is really important, and it's there for you. Ask your agencies. Ask your home study agency. That's what I did initially when I first started. I asked my home study agency, do you know any other single women who are going through this process that you are working with? Might they be available to talk with me, to connect with me? Nobody had ever asked my agency that. And they're like, wow, I'll ask. And that's how I got into the whole single mother by choice community, which probably really led me to where I am today. So ask for what you might need. Start building those support systems. So part of that conversation around support was also childcare, right? And this person is nowhere close to, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know. Adoption can happen immediately overnight. You could be waiting, and then tomorrow you have, your child in your arms. So think about childcare, because sometimes there's a year wait. So start reaching out to people, looking at what type of childcare you think you might want, and then determining if there might be long waits and wait lists that you can get on. Usually, if your name comes up, you can defer, and especially if you let them know what's going on. Good news, more agencies are taking families. That's awesome. 2 years ago, you couldn't get on an agency list anywhere, and I was just preaching, get on wherever you can, which is not something I've ever really preached, because I think it's really important to do your due diligence and to really think about which places are going to be the best fit for you, which is another reason consultants are great. So somebody said, I wish, in that whole thing, like, I wish somebody would just tell me, because there's so much information out there, where to go, what to do, what to learn. And that's what consultants do. That's our business. So more agencies are taking families. Oh, and then another person posted in our client community, because we have a really active and close client community. They just adopted and they're finding babysitters, and they don't want pictures of their child being posted online. Should they have a contract in place that asks their caregiver not to post, or just a conversation about it? Should they bring it up at all? You guys, I wouldn't have even thought of that. Like, I don't know, for me, like, who posts pictures of somebody else's kids without permission? But it is definitely worth asking your caregiver not to post. You probably don't need a contract in place, but just explain to them that, our situation is a little bit more nuanced and complicated. We would really prefer that you not post any pictures of our child online. And I'm sure they will respect that. I wanted to bring up one other thing. For those of you who have been following me for a while, and I hear this all the time, is just how much people appreciate how I show up and that I'm really real. And that's who I am online. It's who I am with our clients. It's who I am leading my team, and it's who I am in life, right? Doing life. And that's also who I am inside of our Adoption Roadmap Academy, which is our online course. So if you are somebody who's like, I don't really want to work with a consultant, or I'm not really sure about it, but I know I need some guidance, go check out the Adoption Roadmap Academy. If you go to rgadoptionconsulting.com and our services, you will see it in there. It is our online academy. It takes you through the 4 steps of our adoption roadmap model, which is the model we use for every single one of our clients. We have 3 different service levels. But if you like these teachings that I do that throughout the Adoption Roadmap Academy online. And they're not long. In fact, the videos are way shorter than these. I teach you about the exact step you need in order to take action and move forward. You're not in there to just learn. Hopefully you want to learn. You're in there for a purpose. And so I've really tried to scrape away all the fluff and just tell you exactly what to do each step of the way. And then if you want more support, you can hop on a video call with me and I will support you in any way you need. You don't get your one-on-one consultant, but you get me twice a month. So if you're needing a little bit of guidance, I really welcome you to check that out. If you're interested, you can DM me and just say, tell me more about your academy. You can go online and check it out. And it's, I'll show it to you. I'll get on a video call with you and I'll just show you what it's all about if you want. But everybody should know out there, if you are trying to adopt and help me spread the word, you don't have to do it alone. Don't do it alone. It's really not a smart strategy. Don't do it alone. Know that you can adopt outside your state, because there are different laws in every state. There's pros and cons to all of them. And that the best strategy may be to sign up with multiple agencies across the country who have lower upfront fees, rather than sign up with that one huge agency and pay $15,000 up front. So there are different ways to go about it for different people. I'm happy to hop on a call with any one of you if you want more information. Have a great weekend. Mwah! I'll see you next Thursday morning. Bye for now.